Everyone knows that the birth of Jesus Christ was on December 25th, Christmas Day. But was it? Was it even 1 AD? The short version is no one knows for sure when exactly Jesus was born, but we have clues and hints that might guide us to the date. Making things more confusing, some Orthodox Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus on January 7th, while Armenian Christians choose January 6th. That has to do with the Epiphany, when Jesus was revealed as the Son of God. The 7th of January has to do with the old Julian calendar. The Epiphany is a reasonable religious explanation for the birth date, but we think we can get a little more precise. The Gospel of Luke says that Jesus was around 30 years of age when he began his ministry. Historians have some evidence pointing to when Jesus died, the first Friday of April in either AD 30 or AD 33. That's based on 3 of the 4 Gospels. John puts the Last Supper on a Wednesday, so that just makes things even more confusing. As to why there isn't some 2,000-year-old birth certificate marking his birth in the first place, well, that's because back then it was viewed as a total lowbrow pagan move to record the date of a birth, or celebrate so-called birth anniversaries in the first place. And just a note, historians don't use BC before Christ or AD Anno Domini, which translates to in the year of our Lord anymore. They use BCE before the Common Era and CE, Common Era. Anyway, early on, the main focus was on Jesus' teachings and the miracles attributed to him, including his resurrection. His birthday was largely irrelevant to the rest of the narrative. In the end, there's a ton of people who think his birthday was likely chosen by early Christians to coincide with Saturnalia, a Roman gift-giving festival celebrated near the winter solstice. Before we nail down the day, let's take a shot at the actual year Jesus was born. Today, historians and religious scholars believe that the historical Jesus was likely born in Bethlehem sometime between 6 and 4 BC. That's because the biblical account of his birth is closely associated with the Judean king Herod, who died in 4 BC, and looked like this in Jesus Christ Superstar, in case you haven't seen it.
Jesus, I am overjoyed.
This means that Jesus died in his mid-30s, which also fits with the description in the Gospel of Luke that Jesus began his brief ministry at about 30 years old that we mentioned earlier. 4 BC to 33 AD would put Jesus at 37 years of age at his crucifixion. The exact day of Jesus' birth is a greater mystery. In fact, the Bible doesn't even mention the nativity scene that has become so integral to our mental images of Jesus' birth. Some biblical scholars believe Jesus was likely born in the summer or fall, since Luke mentions that shepherds were watching their flocks in the fields at the time. This might not be as big a clue as it seems. Yes, generally speaking, flocks were sheltered starting around October back then, but it's Israel we're talking about, not Siberia. Sheep did and do graze in December in that area, so it might be a bit of a red herring. Bigger clue might come right from the biblical text. Luke also says Mary was visited by an angel in the 6th month of her relative Elizabeth's pregnancy with John the Baptist. Since John was conceived in June, that places Jesus' birth in September, which could make him a Virgo. If you've ever seen any of the buzz around Jesus being born on September 11th, 3 BC, now you know where that all came from. As people learned more about Jesus' life and death, it was natural that they would be curious about his origins. Around AD 200, different Christian sects began to throw out dates, but none stuck. It took 200 more years for the December date to be settled on. Another theory is that Roman Emperor Constantine made December 25th the official date of Christmas in 336 AD to overshadow the pagans' winter rituals and ultimately make the celebration of Jesus' birth the high holy holiday that it's become today. Want one more theory? Jupiter appeared in retrograde. That basically means it seemed to stop and then move in the opposite direction in 2 BC right over Bethlehem. Guess what day that was? Correct. December 25th. But if you want to know the real reason December 25th is celebrated as Jesus' birthday, it's likely our old friend math. The Feast of the Annunciation is a holy day among Christians. This is a day that the angel appeared to Mary and told her she was with child. You know what day that is celebrated? March 25th. Add 9 months to March 25th and guess what you have? That's right, December 25th.